Hello and welcome to another edition of Sporty's how-to videos. Today we're going to cover how to configure the Honeycomb Bravo throttle quadrant with the Airbus levers for a 4-engine Airbus aircraft. So we're going to go ahead and begin by heading on over to the controls options page. Alright, and the Honeycomb Bravo default is set as a multi-engine GA aircraft. So 2 throttle, 2 prop, 2 mixture. We're going to go ahead and clear all of those out and start with a fresh slate, if you will. And here we are just clearing out the current mixture commands. And here's where we're able to go ahead and save this new profile as we would like. As mentioned, this is going to be for an Airbus 4-engine, so that's how I'm going to label it. Alright, and then we'll just continue with clearing out of all these preset commands. Now, you could go ahead and apply new ones while working through these different categories, but I just want to make sure none get past us. There aren't any ghost commands or conflicting commands, and basically making all 6 of these levers inactive. And then finally, throttle 1 axes. Okay, so now the levers are all cleared. And then lastly, I'm going to go ahead and clean up our flaps. Now, these are configured to the flap handle on the right side of the Honeycomb Bravo, but because lever 6 is going to be my flaps, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these also, just so there aren't conflicting commands or anything that would confuse the program. Alright, so we've cleaned up everything I wanted to. Let's go ahead and get back to assigning commands. So expand, collapse, get you all organized, and we're going to head on over to power management. We'll go to our throttle, and we are going to set throttle 1 axes. Now you will see as we cleared out a couple boxes weren't unchecked, so they do still populate, but those will clear up as we go. So throttle 1 axes, I'm going to start scanning as I move throttle 1 lever, which is lever 2, and that is going to be left axis X. We'll validate, let's move our throttle 1 lever, okay, and then we need to make sure that we remove the reverse axes. That way it will, when my lever's full forward, the simulation will recognize full forward. Let's do the same for throttle 2 axes. Let's move that throttle 2 lever. It's going to be right axis Z. Removing of the reverse axes, okay. Let's do the same for throttle 3 axes. That should be right axis Y. And then remove the reverse box. And then last but not least, throttle 4 axes. We'll do the same. Right axis X. Okay. Now the next thing I want to do is reverse thrust. And the way I've found works best is go to a throttle decrease command. So I like to go ahead and move our lever all the way to the back spot. As you can see, it's moving to the back. I remove the thrust reverser mechanical arm, and then in this spot I start my scanning and I move it to that aft detente. So joystick button 25 is when that lever is in the most aft spot it can go, and that will reduce throttle 1. So let's go ahead and do the same for throttle 2 decrease. I move throttle 2 lever all the way back. I engage the thrust reverser mechanical arm, and then I start my scan, and this way it picks up when throttle 2 is all the way in that aft spot. It's joystick button 26. It will go into throttle 2 decrease. What this does is in essence, when your lever is at the 0% setting and you go to that final little spot, it says, okay, obviously less than 0 is going to be negative or thrust reverser mode. And I found that the throttle 4 decrease or throttle decrease commands are what work best. So that's what I'm going to set up today. Alright, so we've got all our throttle reverse thrusts set up. Okay. Next up, we are going to take care of go ahead and take care of our spoilers. So we will go to spoiler axes. We're going to move lever 1, which is what I'm using for spoilers, and that is going to be left axis Y. That works as I would like. And then on these, we want to make sure that we have that reverse axis box checked. That's important. That way when the axis is full forward, it's the same command within the digital aircraft. Next, let's go ahead and take care of our flaps. Flaps axes -100 to 100%. We'll move lever 6, which is what I have set for flaps, and that's left axis Z. And that also needs to be in the reverse axis mode. Alright, next we're going to go ahead and take care of the autopilot auto throttle disconnect. Now autopilot has a lot of different commands, so I'm just going to search, save a little bit of time. We'll search for auto throttle. Okay, and here's the auto throttle disconnect. So I'm going to configure this to the 2 red buttons that are on the throttles. This is similar to what's in real aircraft. And I want it both simultaneously. So as I'm scanning, I hit both buttons. That's joystick button 9, joystick button 12. You could do an OR command, have it one or the other. I like to do an AND, make it both. And then that way it's more similar to what is in the actual Airbus aircraft. Okay, so we've got everything configured as we would like. We go ahead and make sure we hit apply and save. And now we are all set to go ahead and jump in a 4-engine Airbus aircraft, and the levers on our Honeycomb Bravo will react the same way they would in the digital aircraft. We hope this video might have shaved off a little bit of time getting the throttle configured as you'd like. We'll continue to create how-to videos, and as always, we hope you have fun digitally flying.